Ayo.
Be part of the best pro wrestling podcast on the internet today.
What?
Not only is it too hot to handle, but I'm too cold to hold.
What?
Head on over to patreon.com/uncensored and you can be a part of the greatest thing that ever happened in your life.
What?
Can you dig it? Oh, yeah.
What is going on, family? My name is Terrence, for those of you that do not know who I am, but I love it when you call me Big Papa. And today is not the usual episode. Today is not a time for being energetic. Today is not a time for being wild. Today is this is a serious episode for a matter of great importance. The Superstar Shakeup, coming to you this Monday and Tuesday in the WWE, following the 5-day weekend extravaganza known as WrestleMania weekend. Follow to you 1 week later with a Superstar Shakeup, a 2-day event in which superstars in the entire company, their futures are up in the air. They don't know whether or not they're going to be on Raw. They don't know if they're going to be on SmackDown. Nia Jax, the new Raw Women's Champion, she could be shipped over to SmackDown Live, and she might not even know. So this episode, I'm going to give you a list of 10 people, or 10 superstars, 10 acts, in which I believe should switch brands. I want to switch brands. And let me be quite transparent with you. This list is not going to agree with maybe 80 to 95% of anybody that listens to this. But it is 100% what I want. And some of them are what should happen. And some of it is what the superstars should want to happen. So let's get on down to the nitty gritty. Number 10, Braun Strowman should be swapped with Baron Corbin. Now this makes sense for both superstars for one reason and one reason only. These two superstars, kind of more than maybe anybody else on this list, they just feel out of place. The only reason Braun Strowman was on that WrestleMania card was because you would be stupid not to have Braun Strowman on the WrestleMania card. Braun Strowman, it was too big of a name not to be on WrestleMania. So what did they do? They had to put him in a match. It wasn't going to be the Intercontinental Championship match, because he was out of place. How do you write him into that storyline just a few short weeks before WrestleMania? He wasn't going to be in the Universal Championship match against Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns unless something drastic happened with Brock Lesnar. So that leads to one championship on the Raw brand, and that was the Raw Tag Team titles. The Bar, Sheamus, and Cesaro, they literally have beaten every other tag team on the roster. So making a tag team match for the Bar at WrestleMania would have been hard to do when they've beaten every single tag team on the roster. Because logically, any tag team on the roster that you put them in a match with at WrestleMania, it's obvious the Bar is going to win. Because how do you book the Bar beating them convincingly, and then at WrestleMania they choke it up? So we all thought going into WrestleMania, who is Braun Strowman's tag team partner? For a month, we've been trying to think. Will it be Elias? Will it be Big Show? Maybe Big Cass is on his way back. Maybe they decide to put Big Cass with Braun Strowman. Maybe it could be Bobby Lashley. We don't know. It could be a number of superstars. And then WrestleMania came, and for as great of a moment it was in terms of being cool, it was also such a bad taste in everybody's mouth. We were expecting some big superstar return, unexpected. We were expecting Elias and Braun Strowman to have a tag team run after being bitter enemies. Instead, we got referee John Cone. We got his son, Nicholas, 10-year-old, 4th grade. We got him as Braun Strowman's tag team partner. And not only that, but Braun Strowman beat the Bar in the handicap match, essentially. So for one night, the Raw Tag Team Championship was around the waist of Braun Strowman and a 10-year-old. Just for them to relinquish the titles the next night on Monday Night Raw. It's one thing if Nicholas had to give his title up, but Kurt told Braun, you have to find a real partner. And tonight, you're going to have a rematch against the Bar. The titles will be vacated. You need to find a real partner, and whoever wins that tag team match tonight will be the Raw Tag Team Champions. But instead of doing that, they had to give up the titles, and Braun Strowman wasn't on the rest of the show. So I think the writing is on the wall. He's not going to be in the Intercontinental Championship picture anytime soon, especially if a superstar or two that I have further down the list happen to be shaking up a little bit. He's not gonna be in the Intercontinental Championship picture. He's not gonna be in that Universal Championship picture, especially if Roman Reigns and Samoa Joe are gonna be the two guys taking that helm. So Braun Strowman needs a new start. He needs to go to SmackDown. A bunch of people that he hasn't destroyed yet, he can do that. SmackDown needs a monster. And speaking of monsters, Baron Corbin is kind of in the same boat. Baron Corbin became United States champion, and it was a very lackluster run. It was a very, very bad run. A guy that Road Dogg tried to cannonball into the main event scene, just for people like John Cena to bring him back down to reality. A guy that was in the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal once again. Baron Corbin, maybe more so than Braun Strowman, has no foreseeable impact on SmackDown Live. He's not going to be anywhere near that United States Championship scene, and he's definitely not going to be anywhere near the WWE title scene, with heel Shinsuke being as fantastic as we all know he is and he will be, and AJ Styles, and the return of Daniel Bryan. So, Baron Corbin, more so maybe than Braun Strowman, definitely needs a shakeup, and he can go. This is a perfect swap in terms of Baron Corbin was supposed to be the monster of SmackDown Live, the guy that was destroying everybody, the guy that was brutalizing people. Right? Remember he put the forklift on Dean Ambrose like a year and a half ago? You remember that? He was trying to crush Dean Ambrose. So this is a perfect swap. You swap monster for monster, and they can go destroy the other civilians on the other opposite show. Two guys that seem to have no direction. They seem to be out of place. They seem to have no foreseeable impact on their shows as you can think of. Because Braun Strowman is going to be in that tag team tournament for Raw. And Baron Corbin isn't going to come close to any title on SmackDown. So if there was ever any two people that you could see needing a change, it would be Braun Strowman and Baron Corbin. And speaking of needing something, number 9, Ty Dillinger. Now, you want to talk about wasted opportunity. Ty Dillinger, red hot in NXT. We all wanted him to be in the Royal Rumble at number 10 before he got his call up. They gave it to us. He came up to SmackDown Live, and he was in a feud with Baron Corbin. And then he went away. And then he came back and he was in a feud with Baron Corbin for the United States Championship with the AJ Styles scenario. And it's hard to explain what is wrong with this. Ty Dillinger can't get on TV. Just think about that. Ty Dillinger, the crowd does the 10 chant, right? Ty Dillinger can't get on TV. This isn't a guy like Apollo Crews. Apollo Crews was over in NXT. He was cheered, but you could see Apollo Crews coming up to the main roster and maybe flubbing. Simply because the crowd isn't as familiar with Apollo Crews, or he just wasn't as over. But Ty Dillinger had everything. Like, he could be the underdog, which is going to garner a face fan reaction a la Daniel Bryan, a la Johnny Gargano. And he has a 10 chant. Now, people argue all the time. Is the 10 chant over, or is Ty Dillinger over? Is Glorious over, or is Bobby Roode over? Now, I could argue a little bit later about one of those, about chants and whether they're over or not. But it's no doubt that Ty Dillinger got the 10 chant over. The 10 chant wasn't just something that came along. It has to have a driver. And Ty Dillinger was that driver. And Ty Dillinger can't get a single second on SmackDown Live TV. And you can argue maybe SmackDown Live, they just have too much talent. Now, I could argue they don't have too much talent. They have a problem with using the same talent over and over and over again. You remember on Monday Night Raw leading up to the Elimination Chamber, you had Matt Hardy, Bray Wyatt, Elias, Apollo Crews, John Cena, Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins, Miz, Finn Balor, Braun Strowman. They had 10 plus people in a 2 to 3 to maybe a 4-week span that were all given TV time, fighting for a meaningful opportunity, and that is to be in the Elimination Chamber, to be number 1 contender for the Universal Championship, right? They utilize more than 10 talent, more than 10 superstars. SmackDown Live uses the same damn talent week after week after week. And you could argue that half of the talent is nowhere near as being over as Ty Dillinger once was or Ty Dillinger could be. So Ty Dillinger going to Monday Night Raw would be great for him because a 3-hour show on Monday Night Raw means more time for to utilize talent, to showcase talent. And what better person to showcase than somebody that is over? And it feels like nowadays getting yourself over seems to be a punishment than a reward, than a chance to be rewarded by the company. But Ty Dillinger just simply needs a show that can offer him a better opportunity for TV time. And Monday Night Raw being 3 hours gives him the opportunity to have a 5-minute, 10-minute showcase that wouldn't maybe take away from other talent that's been showcased weeks on weeks on weeks. Number 8, Natalya. Now, if you look at SmackDown Live, leading up to the WrestleMania 34, Asuka came out at Fastlane after Charlotte defeated Ruby Riott, in which was a really, really good match. Asuka came out, pointing at the WrestleMania sign, challenged Charlotte for the SmackDown Live Women's Championship. And after that, I believe Asuka was on maybe 1 or 2 SmackDown Lives. From Fastlane to WrestleMania, Asuka spent more time on Raw than she did on SmackDown Live. And in that time period, they had what felt like 3 matches between Charlotte and Natalya, and Naomi and Natalya, and Becky Lynch. And it feels like Natalya feels like the go-to woman on the roster that they just put in a match with somebody. Like, there's no need for her and Charlotte to have matches anymore when Charlotte has already beaten her and Charlotte is moving on to bigger and better things. Natalya and Naomi, how many times are we going to replay this situation? It feels like Natalya is constantly on rewind mode. If that makes sense. She's always in matches. Every backstage segment is her bringing up something else with somebody she's already brought stuff up with. She'll take an L in January, but in March she'll bring something up with the same person. After we've already gotten rid of that feud. So I believe that Natalya, at least on SmackDown, I just feel like Natalya has run her course. If that makes sense. Because she's always there when you don't need her. Now this is coming from she should switch brands, but I want her to switch brands. Because listen, the SmackDown Live women's division, in all honesty, was kind of dog shit, or just above dog shit. It was. I don't know if you could say enjoyable, and it might not have even been watchable, but it was tolerable at some times, at some points. And Natalya, I could, in my opinion, Natalya is one of the reasons why it was so bad, because she was champion, but she just didn't feel like, she just felt like the ultimate placeholder as champion. So I just feel like every time Natalya comes on my screen, I'm not trying to dog Natalya. I just feel like I just take a big sigh every time Natalia comes on my TV screen. When I'm trying to enjoy, when I think Naomi got a big victory at WrestleMania, first ever women's battle royal at WrestleMania, she's the first ever winner. You would think she would go on to bigger and better things. A feud with, I don't know, anybody on the roster except for Natalia. You know, this could have led to maybe Naomi switching brands because she's already had a feud with like everybody on SmackDown. Maybe Naomi could switch brands and being the first ever women's battle royal winner, she could go to Raw. She could have bigger and better opportunities. But no, she wins the battle royal. And who's there to rain on the parade? Natalia. So I just feel like Natalia is there, and I know she's doing her job. A good heel. Don't get me wrong, a good heel. But Natalia just seems to damper any and everything that I see. Almost any and everything that I see when it comes to the women's division on SmackDown Live. She's always there, but she's picking meaningless fights. She's always there in the background picking a fight with somebody when there's no fight to be had. She just does it. It just feels like it feels like she's always just lurking. Like she has nothing better to do. Put her on Raw. She'll have different feuds with new people. She can irritate them over there. And I don't have to see her on SmackDown Live. For 2 hours, she's always there. They use the same talent all the time, and she's one of them. And it's annoying. Number 7. Chad Gable and Shelton Benjamin. Now, I talked about it with the Braun Strowman pick that Raw, they're having a tag team tournament, right? To determine new champs at the greatest Royal Rumble event in Saudi Arabia, right? Which is going to be like the WrestleMania after WrestleMania. But when you take a look at the tag teams on Raw prior to the Superstar Shakeup, these are the tag teams on Raw. Titus Worldwide, consisting of Apollo Crews, Titus O'Neil, The Miztourage, Bo Dallas, and Curtis Axel. You have the new bizarre team of Bray Wyatt, Matt Hardy. You have the Bar, Cesaro, and Sheamus. You have the Revival, Dash, Wilder, and Scott Dawson. You have Slater and Rhino. And you have the Authors of Pain. And you have the Club, Carl Anderson and Luke Gallows. Now, look at the tag teams on SmackDown Live. You have the New Day, Big E, Kofi Kingston, Xavier Woods. You have the Colognes, but they aren't there, so you can't really count them. You have the Bludgeon Brothers. You have the Usos. You have the Ascension. You have Gable and Benjamin, and that's it. And you have the Fashion Police. So you have the Fashion Police. Now I'm saying Gable and Benjamin because these two coincide with a pick later on. So it's virtually a swap. But Gable and Benjamin, they're similar to the whole Braun Strowman thing idea, in which it kind of feels like they're just out of place. They aren't going to be in that SmackDown Live tag team picture anytime soon, because obviously between Bludgeon Brothers, Usos, and the New Day, kind of like the second tier down from that. But it feels like Gable and Benjamin they've already had all their feuds, because a Bludgeon Brothers versus Gable and Benjamin feud, in my opinion, seems kind of useless because we already know the outcome. But if you put Gable and Benjamin on Raw and you swap them with one of the teams on Raw, they could easily be in that tag team title picture just like that. And maybe more so than ever, Jason Jordan is still on Monday Night Raw. So you could make Gable and Benjamin on. You can put them on Monday Night Raw, and you can incorporate Jason Jordan into this situation. Maybe you make another World's Greatest Tag Team faction, where Shelton Benjamin could probably be the Kurt Angle of this faction, with Gable and Jordan as the tag team, right? Or Gable and Benjamin on Monday Night Raw, Jason Jordan there. Jason Jordan kind of understands that his solo career has gone AWire, you know. It hasn't gone the way that he thought it would have gone, or the way he wanted it to go. So he's trying to make amends with Chad Gable, the guy that he threw away so he could be with his father. You know, even though that sounds kind of bad the way I just put it, it's true. You could incorporate a 3-man group, or they could all, Gable and Benjamin can have a little feud with Jordan. Maybe you get Kurt Angle in this situation. There's possibilities there between Gable, Benjamin, and Jordan. And Gable and Benjamin will have a greater chance at the Raw tag titles than they would the SmackDown Live tag titles. Because, like I said, on Raw, they would only have to compete. The only legitimate teams they would have to compete with would be Bray Wyatt, Matt Hardy, The Bar, The Revival, and The Club. And you could even mute maybe The Club or The Revivals only because they've been down. Their momentum has kind of been stumped, you know. So this pick is more of a idea pick, not more of they should or more of they want. It's just to coincide with an idea that I envisioned. Nothing more, nothing less. Kind of a weak pick, if we're being honest. But hey, you're going to have some hits and you're going to have some misses in the Superstar Shakeup. It's just that simple. Number 6, Randy Orton and Bobby Roode to SmackDown Live. Now this is a twofer. I think, just like, I might be saying this too much, but running its course can never get too old, as long as you're saying it and not doing it. But I just think Randy Orton, he's kind of run its course. And look, if we don't have to deal with Jinder Mahal versus Randy Orton ever again, as long as they own 2 different brands. These two had one of the worst feuds in recent memory, with some of the worst matches in recent memory, for the WWE Championship, right? A feud that seemed to go on forever, right? Now, Jinder Mahal is a United States champion. And guess who he got to fight at Backlash for the United States Championship? You guessed it, Randy Orton. So, Road Dogg or Vince, they saw nobody gave a shit about Jinder Mahal versus Randy Orton for the WWE Championship. And the United States Championship is it's not as important as the WWE Championship. So let's give them that feud for that title, and maybe they gonna care even more about it. Because it's not the actual most important title on the roster. Au contraire, Mr. McMahon and Mr. D.O. Double G. You making Jinder Mahal versus Randy Orton for the United States Championship might have been your worst decision ever. Because if there's ever a reason not to care about the United States Championship, it would be to put Jinder Mahal versus Randy Orton for that title. Because you know we didn't care about the shit the first 8,000 times y'all put them against each other. How about you put them against each other for a belt that don't mean as much? Like, it's one thing to just have them in a match against each other. But now you got to put a championship on the line. So that means one of them is going to be champ. And oh my God. And look, and that what leads me to Bobby Roode. I say Randy Orton simply because I'm kind of tired of Randy Orton, to be honest with you. And you get him on Monday Night Raw, that gets him away from Jinder Mahal. And I could see him beating Jinder Mahal. Because they can't be that stupid to put the title on Jinder. Unless after the Superstar Shakeup, he just loses it anyway. But that's not going to happen because he got to lose it at Backlash. Unless at the Greatest Royal Rumble event, he loses it at the great. I don't know. You can honestly swap Jinder for Randy Orton in this pick if you wanted to. I just decided to go with Randy because I kind of like Jinder more. You know? But you could do it either one. Bobby Roode, on the other hand, they messed up by having Bobby Roode be such a phenomenal heel in NXT. And then they called him up and he was a face for no reason. Like, there was no long dramatic heel turn or heel run that led to him turning face because a heel was beating up somebody that he might have had some type of respect for or something. You know, the usual heel for a long time, they turn into a face and the crowd is all behind them. You know? No, he just came up on SmackDown. He was a heel at NXT TakeOver, and then that Tuesday night he was on, or like 2 weeks later, he was on. No, it was that Tuesday night. Whatever. He was on SmackDown Live, and he was a face for no reason. And the reports was that Vince thought the Glorious chant was over, and now Bobby Roode, where you, sir, do not look at NXT, obviously, because he made the Glorious chant, not the other way around. So Bobby Roode going to Monday Night Raw is simply because he's not in the title picture right now. He lost his rematch at WrestleMania, and he lost Tuesday night in the triple threat match. So he's not getting that title picture. So he could be shipped over. And it would also give him a chance to turn heel on a new brand. Simply because he's on a new brand. It would be hard to think of on SmackDown Live because there's really no reason. But him being on Raw, you don't have to have a reason because he's on a new brand, new start, new era for him. So that's simply why I say Bobby Roode. Just to get him away from Jinder and Randy, because that's going to hurt him when it all comes down to it. Number 5, the Club. Now, this might be, other than maybe Ty Dillinger, this might be the most necessary move. And when I say necessary, I don't mean like as the wrestling community necessary. I mean for the Club as an act, as a tag team, they need to go to SmackDown Live because they've been floating they've been in limbo on Monday Night Raw ever since they lost the tag team titles to the Hardys at WrestleMania 33. Ever since then, they've just been floating. They've been in limbo. They haven't been real title contenders. They haven't really been on the show. They from my ears looking at it on TV, they don't really seem to get the biggest pops, and it kind of hurts because Carl Anderson is fantastic. Carl Anderson might be one of the most underrated superstars, not only on the roster but maybe in the entire industry. AJ Styles, didn't AJ Styles say that he was fucking phenomenal in the ring? If AJ Styles is telling you that somebody's really good in the ring, maybe he's really good in the ring, you know? But the club, I'm going to keep this short and sweet. Short and simple, too. The club, they just, you put them on SmackDown Live, it's just a whole new start for them. It just is. They just need to get away from Monday Night Raw. They've been in limbo on Monday Night Raw for far too long, and that opens up the door for the Revival. I almost put the Revival at this number 5 spot, but I felt like the reason for the Revival's kind of slump was solely due to injury. They got called up, and like 2 or 3 weeks later, Dash Wilder got hurt. He broke his jaw. So that took them off of TV for a while. And then he came back, and they were supposed to come back and gain all their momentum again. And Scott Dawson went down with a torn bicep or whatever. So it was like their first year on the main roster consisted of them being on the shelf. So it's hard to get people to believe or be interested in the act when they haven't been on TV for a good reason. It's not like they were on TV. They weren't on TV because they were punished or something like that, or they just didn't put them on TV. They were injured, so they kind of that stumped all of their momentum. I didn't say the Revival are here because they have an excuse for why they aren't as big as we all know that they can be or they will be. The club, on the other hand, they've been there just lingering for no reason. We thought the Balor Club was going to be promising. They were finally going to do something with the Balor Club, and they dropped that after like 2 weeks. Literally, after 2 weeks, they just dropped it. So, move the club to SmackDown Live. You can incorporate them with AJ Styles. You can bring back the club. And with the whole heel Shinsuke, AJ, you can have you can have Gallows and Anderson be the kind of historians for this feud. Give you true insight on AJ Styles versus Shinsuke Nakamura, their history in Japan, their history as friends or whatever. They can give you all that backstory, and we can have Usos revival. I mean, not revival. The Usos, Gallows, and Anderson. We can have New Day, Gallows, and Anderson again. Bludgeon Brothers. We can finally have Fashion Police versus Gallows and Anderson, so we can finally say nerd to the Fashion Police. We can finally say nerd to the Ascension. You know, it's just that. It's just simple. Probably the most necessary movement for the entire Superstar Shakeup. Number 4, Seth freaking Rollins to SmackDown Live. Now this is where we start to get into the part of the show where I'm talking about what I want. I don't give a damn what you think should be number 4, number 3, number 2, number 1. What I want. This is what I want. And this is what I think should happen because that's what I want to happen. SmackDown Live needs to get a little burnt down to the ground, if you know what I'm saying. The house that AJ Styles built needs to get burnt down a little bit, you know what I'm talking about. And let's make it plain and simple, right? SmackDown Live needs stars. They need bodies. But in the main event scene and in the mid-card scene, that's the problem that SmackDown Live is having. We thought SmackDown Live kind of fixed some of their star issues. Remember when SmackDown Live was really good? They didn't have that many stars, but it was really good. They had Dean Ambrose, Dolph Ziggler, AJ Styles, John Cena. They had Bray Wyatt, Randy Orton. They had the women's division had Alexa Bliss. They had Becky Lynch, Naomi, Nikki Bella, Natalya. The SmackDown Live division, tag team division was trash, but it was still entertaining. You know what I'm talking about? The mid-card title had The Miz, so it was going to be entertaining regardless. Like, SmackDown Live, they didn't have an abundant amount of star power throughout the entire, evenly throughout the entire brand, but it was, for a period, it was literally the A show. All the stories were better, the matches were better, everything was better. And then the Superstar Shakeup happened, and it was like everything went back to Monday Night Raw. And that was Monday Night Raw was the A show again. But Seth Rollins would add that A plus star power. And I think he should keep the Intercontinental Championship and take that to Monday. I mean, not Monday Night Raw. Take that to SmackDown Live. Because I would prefer the Intercontinental Championship on SmackDown Live with Seth Rollins. Simply because if you look at who's on SmackDown Live right now, Randy Orton, Jinder Mahal, title picture, U.S. Championship. Jinder Mahal is the champ. Look at Raw, The Miz, Seth Rollins, Finn Balor. Seth Rollins is the champion, right? Seth, Finn, Miz will all be bigger. How do I put this? How do I put this? The idea of Seth, Miz, Finn Balor fighting for the United States Championship makes every wrestling fan nut. Slightly. Maybe just a little dribble out. Maybe just a little dribble, you know? Maybe your nipple gets hard. But it makes you feel great. It makes you feel, it's a pleasant thought. It's a pleasant feeling. Jinder Randy Orton being United States champ makes you want to slap fire from your mother's mouth. It just makes you want to grab any form of hair that you might have left on your body, right? Pull it out. Take it to a doctor. Ask them to needle it back through your body, right? Just so you can take it back out. You know, it makes you want to gouge your eyes out. Seth Rollins on SmackDown Live is everything that SmackDown Live does not have. That is tremendous star power, tremendous crossover ability with the believability of excellence coming from anything and everything he touches. And I know I'm saying that with AJ Styles and Shinsuke Nakamura being on the brand. I know I'm saying this. I know I'm saying that. But I'm speaking just from a mid-card level. Seth Rollins on SmackDown Live elevates the mid-card for SmackDown Live to astronomical proportions. Proportions that Randy Orton and Jinder Mahal can never elevate, can never send. They can't go to the moon and back. Seth Rollins can go out to Pluto and make a stop at Mars and Venus and Uranus on the way back to Earth. I'm telling you, this is not something that should happen. It should happen, but I want it to happen more than maybe it should happen. Nothing would make me happier than to come Monday Night Raw. Maybe Seth is on Monday Night Raw. Right? Or maybe it just, Miz versus Finn, or Miz versus Jeff, or Jeff versus Finn, right? And then Tuesday night, Break It Down plays, and I see fire. And Seth Rollins' beautiful face, long flowing hair, he comes down that ramp and he says he's on SmackDown Live. And SmackDown Live is now Tuesday night, Seth down or something. Because, he has the Monday Night Rollins. So it could be Tuesday night, Seth down, or Seth down live, or Seth Rollins live. Play on the word. It should happen. I want this to happen. All right. Number 3, Sasha Banks and Bayley to SmackDown Live. Now think about what we just saw on Monday Night Raw. Let's think about this. Ember Moon just got called up to Monday Night Raw. So obviously, somebody got to go. Right? Think about this on SmackDown Live. I already talked about Natalya. Naomi, her stock is maybe as high as it could be without having the title, right? First ever WrestleMania Women's Battle Royal winner, right? Right. Charlotte just lost her championship to Carmella after defeating Asuka at WrestleMania. A questionable decision. They could have easily had the same match that Asuka and Charlotte had at WrestleMania, and during a down period where both women are down, Carmella comes out, cashes in, and doesn't pin Asuka. She pins Charlotte. And then through some weird fine print or legality, Asuka her streak is intact. Because if they were gonna have Carmella pin Charlotte Tuesday night, they could have did it on Sunday without Asuka losing her streak. But I digress. Charlotte no longer the champ. Naomi stock all-time high without title. Natalya needs to go. Iconic duo. Newest members on SmackDown Live Women's Division. So, let's do the math. Let's do the math here, shall we? Ember Moon, Monday Night Raw. That's 1. Right? That's 1. Iconic duo, SmackDown Live. That's 2. Charlotte, Natalya, Naomi. That's 3. The Iconic duo was taking the place of 2 of those people, right? Or could be taking the place of 2 of those people, right? Ladies and gentlemen, what's 3 minus 2? That's 1. But what happens if we just decide to trade 2 more people to SmackDown Live? To Monday Night Raw. Let's say the Iconic duo taking the place. Naomi, Natalya, right? Let's just say that. How about we give you another Charlotte Kurt Angle, and you give us Sasha Banks and Bayley? How about that? How about that? But in all seriousness, SmackDown needs the women's division. Now that Paige is the general manager of SmackDown Live, hopefully they decide to truly invest time and energy and creative ideas into the SmackDown Live women's division. And this is what I envision Sasha Banks and Bayley being on SmackDown Live. Even if it's just Sasha Banks. Right? This is what I envision. Sasha Banks and Bayley being on SmackDown Live. Sasha Banks and Bayley are going to have a match Monday Night Raw. Should be the main event. That way, Sasha can win the match. Beat the shit out of Bayley. Tuesday night, she shows up. SmackDown Live, newest women's superstar. Or we can do this. Sasha versus Bayley, Monday Night Raw, main event. Sasha loses that match, right? Sasha Sasha loses that match. Sasha loses that match. The show ends. Bayley on the top of the ramp, facing the Titantron. No, Bayley at top of the ramp, facing the Titantron. Sasha in the middle of the ring, on her butt, looking depressed. Bayley looking depressed too. Bayley shows up next night. SmackDown Live opens the show. Next night, SmackDown Live. Newest member, SmackDown Live Women's Division. In the middle of the ring, talking about how happy she is to be on SmackDown Live. New beginning. She can get away from any and everything that ever drug her down, or any demons that was on her back. Right? Taking subtle shots at Sasha Banks, right? Out of nowhere, Sasha Banks comes down, beats the shit out of Bayley, right? Just beats the shit out of Bayley. Who's another 4 horsewoman on SmackDown Live? Becky Lynch. Becky Lynch hasn't had shit to do for I don't know why. Becky Lynch, one of the, in my opinion, the second best woman on the roster, both Raw and SmackDown. You could have Sasha versus Becky. Becky defending the honor of her friend, fellow horsewoman Bayley, trying to figure out what got into Sasha. We can get that year-long Sasha versus Bayley feud. We could also get Sasha, same thing. Bayley next night, Tuesday night, SmackDown Live opens up the show. Sasha comes down, talk about, listen, I was wrong for anything and everything that I've done. Iconic duo could come down. We can get we can get Sasha Bayley versus the Iconic duo, which only leads to Sasha turning heel and turning on Bayley. Bayley thinking that all fences were mended. You know, talking about all wounds were healed. But in the back of Sasha's mind, she can never forget that Bayley said, "You could never beat me." Right? This leads to a year-long feud to culminate at WrestleMania 35 for the SmackDown Live Women's Championship. Hey, you can even throw in Becky Lynch title reign in the middle of that. The Iconic duo can be grade 2 tier under Sasha, Bayley, Becky, Carmella. You know, Naomi might be there, she might not. Ruby Riott can still be there. The possibilities are endless. But I wanted Sasha Banks on SmackDown Live when the fucking draft happened like 3.5 years ago. So, I'm going to say Sasha Banks on SmackDown Live until the day I die. Partner. And you can add Bayley. And we can have Becky Lynch. And we can have Iconic Duo. And we got Carmella and Champ. Calm down. Number 2. The Miz to SmackDown Live. Ladies and gentlemen, when Daniel Bryan was cleared to return to in-ring action in the WWE, there was two specific things that ran through every wrestling fan's mind. From across the country to around the globe, there was two specific things that ran through our minds when Daniel Bryan was cleared. There was more than just two, but two things in particular that ran through our minds. This might be this isn't maybe this is one of the greatest moments in wrestling history. One of the greatest days in wrestling history. Just hours before SmackDown Live, he was cleared to return to in-ring action. All the dream matches that we could ever have. AJ Styles, Daniel Bryan, AJ Styles, Shinsuke Nakamura, AJ Styles versus you name it, we can get it. And the second thought that came through everybody's mind: we need The Miz on SmackDown Live for this unfinished business to take place. You remember, I remember that legendary segment on SmackDown Live, a segment that took place because The Miz was fed up with the WWE treating the Intercontinental Championship like it was nothing. A guy that takes pride in not only being Intercontinental Champion, but making it prestigious like it used to be. All of the greats, all of the greatest superstars were Intercontinental Championships. Hall of Famers, Intercontinental Champions. Some of the people that you consider the greatest of all time were Intercontinental Champions. He takes pride in restoring that ideology of the greatest of all time being Intercontinental Champion and taking pride in only being Intercontinental Champion. Earlier that day, they told him he was not going to be on the show. The Intercontinental Champion was not going to be on the show because they were trying to introduce other things that weren't as prestigious as the Intercontinental Champion, and being the true definition of a champion. Taking pride in being champion. Taking pride in elevating the title to heights that no one can ever take it. He was just pissed and he wanted to be on SmackDown Live. He didn't want a dark match. He wanted to be on Talking Smack. And that segment that you saw was real emotion. Daniel Bryan walking off set was real emotion. Daniel Bryan calling The Miz a coward set off a trigger in The Miz's heart, in The Miz's mind, in his soul, that led to one of the greatest segments in WWE history. Maybe the last 10 years. One of the greatest moments in WWE history. Top 5, top 3 moments in WWE history. A match that we deserve to have at that year's WrestleMania. That was what, WrestleMania, what was it, 33? A match that we didn't get because Daniel Bryan was not cleared to return to in-ring action. Fast forward to 2018. Daniel Bryan is now cleared to return to in-ring action. And you remember when I said Seth Rollins to SmackDown Live with the Intercontinental Championship in his possession? Do you remember when I said The Miz takes pride in being Intercontinental Champion, making that title prestigious, being the greatest Intercontinental Champion of all time? Do you remember when I just said that? What better way to get The Miz to SmackDown Live than to have Seth Rollins shipped over to SmackDown Live with the title and The Miz chasing the title that he deserves, that he wants. The only title in the world that he wants. The Intercontinental Championship. That's the title that he wants. That's the title that he wants to die with. What better way than to get him to SmackDown Live than to have him chase Seth Rollins, who has that title? Who's on SmackDown Live? Daniel Bryan. Ladies and gentlemen, we could have... You thought Finn Balor, Seth Rollins versus The Miz at WrestleMania. You thought that was a great match? Wait till you see Daniel Bryan, Seth Rollins versus The Miz for the Intercontinental Championship. We could finally get at WrestleMania the WrestleMania match that we all deserve, the WrestleMania match that we want. That thought that ran through our minds when Daniel Bryan was finally cleared to return to in-ring action. We could finally get Daniel Bryan versus The Miz at WrestleMania for the Intercontinental Championship. This match is a year in the making. This match, this feud could go down in history as one of the greatest of all time. 2 future WWE Hall of Famers fighting for a prestigious championship. It doesn't get any better than this. Number 1, Roman Reigns. Now, this most likely will never happen. But I came up with a scenario in which would facilitate a Roman Reigns to SmackDown Live transaction. Then not only would benefit Roman Reigns, not only benefit SmackDown Live, but it would benefit Vince McMahon because it would have done something that he's tried for so long to do. And that is not only get Roman Reigns over, but to get the reaction that he's wanted Roman Reigns to get. He wants Roman Reigns as a face, but he gets booed. Overwhelmingly booed. Right? This scenario will facilitate a Roman Reigns to SmackDown Live move. Now, not only will benefit Roman Reigns as an individual, as a human being, as a character, it would benefit SmackDown Live in terms of absolute star power, absolute dominance, absolute A show, absolute the place to see. It will facilitate Vince McMahon's bank account. And it's all about Roman Reigns turning heel. I had a daydream at work one day. I believe it was Tuesday. This past Tuesday. I had a daydream at work about Roman Reigns' his promo on Monday Night Raw. A promo where he came out banged up, beat up from Brock Lesnar's beatdown at WrestleMania. A promo in which he said he was sick and tired of being treated the way he is. In terms of Vince McMahon isn't man enough to tell him that he signed the contract. Vince McMahon isn't man enough to tell him that what he's doing is only helping himself. Treating him the way, putting him in steel cage matches without his consent, without informing him. He has to find out on the internet. Signing a man that right before WrestleMania, we all found out he was going back to the UFC. You signed him to a new multi-year deal. This, ladies and gentlemen, is my idea for what Roman Reigns, for a way that would have facilitated Roman Reigns going to SmackDown Live. That would have benefited Roman Reigns, SmackDown Live, and Vince McMahon. This is an idea, a daydream, a dream. I want to take you back to Monday Night Raw. Pretend this is Monday Night Raw right now. This is Monday Night Raw. Roman Reigns essentially stated that Vince runs the show. And Vince is the reason for his obstacles in his career. Whether it be steel cage matches, whether it be Brock Lesnar. The list goes on and on. Making excuses for why his career is the way it is. I could create a narrative. Me, Terrence, I could create a narrative where Shane recruits Roman Reigns and saves and or rescues him from Vince McMahon. Now, Kurt doesn't want to trade Roman for obvious reasons. But Roman, the company's biggest star, threatens to hold out or flat out quit if Kurt Angle doesn't trade him to SmackDown Live. Kurt having no leverage in this situation because it's Roman Reigns. You're going to let your biggest star, your biggest name walk away? You're gonna let CM Punk walk away again? You're gonna let Neville walk away again? Kurt Angle is forced to accept a lowball offer, and if you were seeing me in real time, you will see me do air quotes, and I air quote lowball offer from Kurt Angle. I mean from Shane McMahon, that could consist of Orton for Roman for Orton, for Rude, Baron Corbin, Chris Jericho if he ever decides to come back, Jinder Mahal, Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn, or the rights to Drew McIntyre, or any top NXT superstar that they decide to call up. Any main event level superstar from NXT that they decide to call up. This will help facilitate, or this will help transition Roman Reigns into a heel character that he should have been for years now. The fans, which includes myself, would be absolutely ecstatic that Roman Reigns is on SmackDown Live, but the way he did it, the temper tantrum that he threw to get his way, will get him, for once in his life or his career, well-deserved boos. Boos that he absolutely should get because of his character and not because of who his boss is, right? On his first night away from Raw, which will be next Tuesday, Roman can cut a promo. It could be the main event of the show, right? A surprise until the very end of the night. 10 minutes before the show closes, Roman Reigns' music can come out, stand in the middle of the ring, and just cut a promo with the freedom, air quote, freedom, to speak the air quote truth. It'll be a shoot type style promo, but it's not a work shoot promo. It's a shoot work promo. Feelings that he truly has, because you know this man is sick and tired of getting booed for stuff that has nothing to do with him. It's not like he's done anything to warrant just being booed and disrespected, having people pay attention to beach balls while he's main eventing WrestleMania. It's not his. He's not creating the main event of WrestleMania. He's being put in the main event of WrestleMania. Me personally, I'm sick and tired of people booing Roman Reigns, for the simple fact that wrestling fans need to be objective when it comes to the product. Otherwise, you will never enjoy it. All of these Alexa Bliss stands who trash any other fan for liking other superstars, you don't enjoy the product because you only care about that one individual. And anything negative that has to do with that one individual, you're ready to cut somebody's heads off. Same thing with Roman Reigns. Everybody's booing him just to boo him. But why are you booing him? Are you booing him because he low blow somebody? Are you booing him because he cheated? Or are you booing him just because the person next to you is booing? Or are you booing because you're still stuck up on a 3-4 years ago instead of now? Because you can't change 4 years ago. You can't change what we already know. We can't change that Vince McMahon is the reason why he's being pushed the way that he is. He's being treated the way he is. So you need to accept it and learn to like him or accept him, and you will enjoy the product. So he'll have the freedom to deliver a promo, to speak the truth with no fear of censorship from Vince McMahon, no fear of Vince turning off his mic, air quote, of quote unquote turning off his mic, or being suspended by Vince because Vince is backstage at Raw for all we know. Last time Vince was on SmackDown Live with the Kevin Owens situation, they saved that for the week after. They said Vince McMahon is going to be on his way to SmackDown Live next week. But on Monday Night Raw, he's backstage every week, right? So technically, Vince McMahon is in charge of Monday Night Raw. He's only at Monday Night Raw. He's never at SmackDown Live, right? So there's no fear, quote unquote, for Roman Reigns on SmackDown Live, because as far as the wrestling community or fans know it to be, we only see Vince backstage at Raw, never at SmackDown Live. Do you understand where I'm going with this? Okay. No, there's no fear for censorship from Vince. He rips the WWE universe. We think he's going to come out there and talk about new opportunities, right? But he comes out there, you boo him, and he just stews in your boos for a good 2 minutes. He just stews in your boos because he's going to get boos. He's going to get cheers from people that want to see him on SmackDown Live, like myself. He's going to get cheers from his fans. But he's going to get a lot of boos, too. Right? So he just stands there and stews in your boos for a good 2 minutes. He rips the WWE Universe, SmackDown Live included, the SmackDown Live fans included, everyone in attendance, causing Shane to come out and interrupt him. This means Shane McMahon coming out, interrupting Roman Reigns. This means Roman Reigns has yet another he has friction with another McMahon. He got away. He thought getting away from Monday Night Raw would mean getting away from Vince McMahon. Shane McMahon was the one that recruited him in storyline, right? And the same person that recruited him and said that he was going to save him and rescue him from his father, the same person that's trying to basically be his father and censor him and censor Roman Reigns, right? This could lead to maybe a Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn incorporated into a Shane, Daniel Bryan, Roman Reigns interwoven angle, unless Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn are on Monday Night Raw or something like that. And Roman he just snaps, turns completely heel, right? You can add Seth, like I said, Seth Rollins to SmackDown Live in the Shakeup. And as the entire storyline progresses, he tries to talk Reigns. He tries to talk sense into Roman Reigns, being former Shield partners and being brothers. He tries to put sense into Roman Reigns' brain. Convince him that what he's doing is wrong. This is not the way to go about things. This is not who you really are. This is not Roman Reigns. And try to talk Roman Reigns off of the ledge of no return. But this isn't he tries to say that this isn't Roman Reigns. This is some different Roman Reigns. And Roman Reigns can flat out say this is not some different Roman Reigns. It's the real Roman. And this could lead to a year-long feud between Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns, which leads to the WWE Championship match at WrestleMania 35 on SmackDown Live. And this will mean Seth will drop the title, the Intercontinental Championship, to The Miz. And that could lead to The Miz versus Daniel Bryan at WrestleMania for the Intercontinental Championship. And Seth Rollins versus Roman Reigns for the WWE Championship at WrestleMania. And ladies and gentlemen, after doing all that, after what I just said for Roman Reigns, I'm pretty sure you all want Roman Reigns on SmackDown Live too. You all want Seth Rollins on SmackDown Live, The Miz too. So there's nothing else for me to say. Like, comment, subscribe. Let me know who you want to be shaken up in the Superstar Shakeup? Who you want to go from SmackDown to Raw and vice versa? Who do you want to get called up? But until next time, bye.